Good morning. Thanks for joining. Good morning. Thanks for joining. I might be having a little bit of trouble to make it work to get into the topic of today. Today, I'm going to be talking about Nigerian journalists to change their mindset. But before I get into it, I'm going to do. All right. Good morning, people. My name is Bukola. I'm trying to let my tripod sit so that I could bit and talk to you guys. Okay. All right. So my name is Bukola Oriola and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm also a journalist. In fact, my first college is on journalism. So I went to school for mass communication and I practiced journalism for 6 years in Nigeria before. So I've been getting this question again and again and again and again from some of my colleagues from Nigeria, and some of them are my, senior colleagues, to help Nigerian journalists to get on board, to be able to do online journalism and take advantage of the online journalism. And I do understand some of the challenges that a journalist could be having in Nigeria, because I practice journalism in Nigeria. I know some of those challenges. But to give my colleagues good news. So my colleagues, first of all, I want to thank you, under very, very challenging conditions. Very, very challenging conditions, because I have. So I know that Nigerian journalists work under a very, very challenging condition. However, things that I have learned in life is how to turn your challenge to profit. In the challenge, trouble, or in the misery, there is also always a seed of opportunity. Just like Napoleon Hill said in his book, is a seed of opportunity in every challenge or in every trouble. There is always a seed of opportunity. I'm going to be talking about that seed of opportunity you have as a journalist in Nigeria. I want to thank my replay viewers and me on this scope. Thank you so much. And my viewers that come regularly to view my scope and participate, thank you so much too. Please let me know where you are joining from, and especially if you are joining from Nigeria, I would like to hear from you, please. Nigerian journalists, and how to change their mindset. How to change your mindset. First of all, a little bit about my story as a Nigerian journalist. So I went to I went to a polytechnic, and I do know that even going to the polytechnic in Nigeria is a challenge. By unfortunately, those who go to the universities, kind of feel like they are more, they have more to offer to the polytechnic. And also in the polytechnic, there is OND, which is ordinary national diploma. But they put ordinary national diploma. That's what you get when you finish 2 year. Here it's called associate degree. That in Nigeria is called ordinary national diploma. And most of the time people will say ND or national diploma instead of adding the ordinary. So if you have an HND, you're even a little bit better than somebody that had OND. And I started my journalism career in year 2000, and started from Interest newspaper. Right now, I think National Interest newspaper is no longer in the market. But before I even newspaper, I remembered my first entrance into journalism in Nigeria was going to Punch newspaper. And was because I was talking to a friend who was like an aunt to me, and while I was talking, a family friend was there, and the person was a guy, and the person seemed to have knowledge about a lot of stuff, and be talking that day about, and that time I was still in college. I was talking about, starting a magazine on local government in Nigeria. And the guy said, really? I said, yes. He said, okay, I will give you assignment and let's go from there. And the first assignment he gave me was go to Punch newspaper and go and ask them to meet reporter covering local government. Talk to that reporter about your interest and come and give me a feedback. I went to Punch newspapers, and at the reception, I remember it was like in the evening time, maybe around PM, and I spoke to the receptionist who said I should hold on. He would call the political reporter. Called the political reporter. The reporter came to meet me at their reception, and the political reporter said, oh, we fake person, we don't have somebody just assigned to local government. And I covered the local government, but the government specifically, they have an association, and I could connect you with their chairman, and you can go from there to get that contact. And he said their chairman is with Concord newspaper. So for those of you in Nigeria, my Nigerian, you remember Concord newspaper, the MKO Abiola's publishing company. So I went. By that time, MKO Abiola was no longer alive, and I was given a name. The name I was given, and I will never forget, because something is very bad, we remember forever. And I don't have contact with him anymore. I don't even know where he is, and I'm hoping that one day I will have the opportunity to connect again or reconnect with this guy and give him a big thank you. His name is Remi Adefulu. And I went to Concord newspapers. And at Concord newspapers, I was connected with this guy, Remi Adefulu. And I told Remi that I'm interested in, covering local government. I want to do a magazine. First of all, do you have a media that you work with? I said, no. And I explained to him how I got to him. So he said, okay, it's me at Coca-Cola. Come meet me at Coca-Cola tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Yes. And then I knew where the Coca-Cola company, he said Coca-Cola company at Oshodi. So if you are familiar with Oshodi company's office right there. So I went to Coca-Cola. I got there late, but they still let, when they let me into the boardroom where there were, Coca-Cola company staff and journalists. I didn't know who was who, but as soon as I got into the room, I recognized the person that asked me to clean through, and then I found out that Mushi local government chairman was touring some companies. He finished at Coca-Cola, and from Coca-Cola, and you know what? I really liked it too, because it does really well. We had good food and drink. I was like, wow, this is nice. And then we left Coca-Cola and went to Nestle. So Nestle was like on the opposite side of the road, still around the Oshodi, Oshodi, going towards Mushi area and like that. If you are familiar with that area, you know what I'm talking about. So for my fellow journalists at newspaper, you know that area very well, because your office is close to that area. So anyhow, we went to Nestle, and we left Nestle and went back to, from there we went to Mushin local government. And then after I went, nothing happened. They gave us papers. I read the papers, and then he asked me again to come. I kept going, I kept going, and even it got to the point where he would tell me, you know what, there was a time he sent me to Ojo local government and gave me the name of the P at Ojo local government. And I went, and he said, make sure you bring the papers back. So when you go, then I started learning, that, when you go to assignment like that, you will take notes, you come back and write stories, And also when you are there, they will give you, some of them will give you like press release, some of them will give you speech from speakers, when you go to that to events like that. So I started bringing those kind of papers. I knew, and mind you, that time I was still in school. So I was doing this for a couple of months before final assignments in the assignment was at Unilag. And at Unilag, I met a former local government chairman, Surulere. He was a former local government chairman in Surulere. Now I've forgotten his name. But anyhow, I was there with other journalists and the event kind of flopped. But you know what happened at the end of the day? I connected with another journalist, a young guy just like me. So the two of us were like novice. And the local government, that former local government chairman that came, kind of held both of us in his wings and was talking to us like a father. And he even gave us a ride to the point where first he took us to his house. We went to his house and, I could do that because I was with another journalist, even though we were both rookies. And we trusted him and went to his house. He was talking to us. He said, a lot of things with us. He told us about his life, and he gave us, that was my first time of trying ginger beer. He gave us ginger beer. We drank ginger beer and then, we left. So anyhow, while I was at that event at Unilag, that seemed like it didn't work out, it flopped. I went back to Remy and said, hey, the event didn't hold because I guess some of the people that were supposed to show up for the event didn't show up for the event, but the event flopped anyhow. So there was nothing to bring back from the event other than the event flopped. I told him what had happened and he said, okay. But then while I was at that event that flopped, other journalists, because now it wasn't just local government, but there were, like education reporters, there were other kinds of reporters expecting at that event. So sometimes you go to an event, it will just be like a beat reporter that will be there. But you go to another event and there will be several beats. That was the case. And they started talking about newspapers, this day newspaper, and then they talked about national interest, Sonny Are, and said, oh, it's really good, is this, is that, so, and that it's looking for people to join them at national interest. They're recruiting. So I said, oh, please, can you give me that contact because I need a job. And I went and asked for the Sonny Are, and he told me to come. But then still, I was a rookie. Even though I've been going to Concord, I didn't write. Other than I go and bring the papers back. So anyhow, I went to national interest. And trust me, it wasn't easy. It wasn't fun. It was hard work and fighting to find my voice. Because even, I remember that I was with national interest for a long time. They wouldn't, at some point I left. But when I left, I found out that, oh, where I went to, it was like going from frying pan to fire. So I came back. And this time when I came back, I said, hey, I need some pay, And then the editor, then I remember he told me, the only thing I can give you is IT. IT means internship. For those of you, that don't use that word, it's called internship. And I said I will take it because with that, they will still pay me salary, So I said I will take it. And I kind of enjoyed seeing my name because I remember the first story I wrote too. It was during the holidays, And sometimes I'm in the office with them till night, till the next day. And my editor, I was about to go home. He said, hey, Bukola, go to police department for Alausa and gave me transport fare to go. So I went to the police department. Apparently, Keja Police Command, they were parading some armed robbers. And, I was there, we did the story, wrote about it, came back. Before I went to that one, I first went to Federal Palace Hotel the previous day. And at the Federal Palace Hotel, it was the Nnamani that was coming to talk to the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Lagos. And they met at Federal Palace Hotel. So I went to that one. I didn't leave there till night. I came back to the office and spent the night at the office trying to pull my story together. And then the next morning, I was asked to go to the police department to cover the parade of armed robbers. So I did those two stories, and guess what? When I came back, I wrote the stories, but because it was my first story that I was writing, the editor was kind enough not to throw that one in the trash. He was encouraging me, and he gave that to another reporter to help me rewrite that story, and it was published with my name. And I was so happy when I saw my story in the newspaper and my name was there, Bukola Oriola. And that was the time it dawned on me, and I started learning that, wow, that's my name. That my father was my only surviving parent at the time. He was very happy when I brought a newspaper home after going for over a year for it, and then actually showing a story with my name in the national newspaper. That was for me as a journalist. However, having the name in the newspaper is great. Journalism industry is constantly changing, and it is constantly growing. Now I'm hearing about millennials. So it was only 2 days ago, because I do hear that word millennium. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Every time there is a new word, I found out that, the millennials, 25 or 18 to 33. So they won't even count me as a millennial. Are the kids born in the technology age. And really, when you look at it, email started with the US Army in 1989. In the 80s, that was when email started, and it was just within the US Army. I, with my journalism practice, I always take on the challenge. And it did. And one of the doors that it opened for me was that I applied to a fellowship in Germany. It's called Invent. And government, I went to Germany to learn about multimedia and online journalism in 2004. And how to start your own website, how to build a website, how internet started, and it was really, really new still in that time when it comes to journalism. It was really new, where, there was only a little bit being done. There were media houses in, the internet, and trying to create their own website and having a web presence, having web presence, email. And I remember the first email I had in 2000 was, what's that email again? Yahoo. I still have that Yahoo email address, but I don't use. So, and the thing is, now we're in 2016. And that's my colleagues, because I told you my background so that you can know that I'm talking to you as someone who has worked, you as someone who cares about your success. And I'm talking to you as someone who wants to show you how to, in the field of journalism in the new millennium. You are competing with millennials, and you are competing with even younger kids. You are competing with 13-year-olds. You are competing with 2-year-olds, 1-year-olds. Trust me. You are competing with all of those kids. So the earlier you get it, the better. And the first thing is to change your mindset. I know that one of the challenge is that it can be very overwhelming. Overwhelming in the sense that I don't even know where to start from. I don't know where to go to. You know, starting a website can get my voice online. How do I do this? You know that you have a great advantage that most people who are even online right now don't have, is the fact that you're already a writer, or you're already practicing journalism. And that gives you the acceleration to push you up quickly, because and you're already doing it. That's what you do. You just now need to change your mindset and start looking at new platforms to build your authority. You know, and building your authority is not only when you're working for somebody. You can continue to work for your, but then you can also position yourself such that you don't feel frustrated at the end of the day. You don't feel, oh, struggling. But I will also like to quickly add that starting a website or doing online does not necessarily translate. No, it's something you build, but it's something that may continue to make you money over time. And that's the thing I want this money. And I'm asking you to choose blogger. I've seen some of my journalists use the phone. I've seen some who does not even use anything. They just go randomly to, different websites. You see, it's always good when you start building yourself up and start building your own voice. And as a journalist, I don't have the money, and that's why I'm showing you this option today, where you don't need to even to start the site. You don't need a dime to start. All you need is your time. And money for your website will never be an issue for you. Do you know how many writers are out there that have to pay somebody to write to? So, and you don't even need that. And there are unlimited possibilities for you to take advantage of. So many things. We are in the information age. Information is not only just about, top line or, information technology. It's more than computers. Information technology now is also in the soft form. It's about content. And if you reach, different writers, bloggers, they will be telling you that content is key. And you have to use it. You have that key because you have content. For example, you go out every day to a media house or for your newspaper. That story you are giving to your newspaper, you can give one to yourself when you blog. Before you give them the news, break it on your blog or write 2 versions of the story. We always talk about different angle to the story, different angle to the story. Write the different angle to the story, the human angle. Write, 2 different versions and give one to your news media and put one on your blog site. And also, do you know what? Writing on your blog site, you don't need to. Now I hear Linda Ikeje, and I will go and dig to see, the background of Linda Ikeje, what she has, as professional background. But when you talk about media in Nigeria, or blogging in Nigeria, Linda out there. And I read sometimes some stuff online where there are people fighting with Linda Ikeji. You don't have to fight Linda and start doing something for yourself. If Linda Ikeji is just a journalist, and I've gone to a blogger site. If Linda Ikeji is not a journalist, and Linda Ikeji is doing what you can do as a journalist. And trust me, you don't need to write 10 paragraphs. All you need is 2 paragraphs. Sometimes all you need is 5 paragraphs, 1,000 words or less. So I've written more attention than I expected. That is less than 1,000 words. And sometimes you can save some stories for long story, but even still, when you have long stories, you break it up into series. Is it even a year? It's not a year, but last summer. It was last summer. I had an oral, and guess what? It was a traumatic experience even before the surgery. The trauma I suffered before the surgery was so great. The surgery, everything went fine, and I decided to write about it. And I wrote a 6 about that oral surgery. I didn't write it once. I only I wrote everything one time, sat down once and wrote everything. But then I started publishing it once a day for 6 days, because I told them, oh, 5, I'm giving you 5 series, but bonus. And I gave a bonus article. So I wrote a 6-part article about that oral surgery. And people were reading, they were following, I became lazy, I didn't write again. And I had people sending me messages like, oh, how come you just stopped like that? We still wanting more. What else do you have? What do you have? Right now, I'm working on a fiction book. And it's going to be a very short book that somebody told me to write. Who said, oh, you write well, please do it. Write a fiction. Just give us something. Give us a story. And you, as a journalist, you already have that skill in you. And trust me, Nigerian journalists, you guys are so good in writing. The way you describe stuff, the way you write is so unique. It's so enjoyable to read. Please, I'm begging you, my fellow reporters, to start looking at the online. Start looking at the online to build yourself, to build your platform. There are so many things you can enjoy when you use online. And I'm focusing, I've not even started showing you the blogger, but I'm going to show you. But first of all, what do you need? What do you need to start your free website? The number one thing you need is you. You to tell yourself, I'm going to do this, and that's the number one thing you need. You and your commitment. And once you start, the technical aspect of it, where you do it one time and sometimes you have to tweak again and tweak and change. But there are some things that and just leave it like that for a long time. And all you will need to be doing is just to be putting content, on your website. And putting content means writing stories every day. If you are not writing every day, whenever you go to an assignment, you don't even have to write every day. Let's do like this. Whenever you go to an assignment for your news organization, make a website. So when you write a story for your news organization, write a short version for your website. And that is the way that you can start building that website up and start building your own authority and start having visibility. Before you know it, you start making money for yourself. I've talked about this to some people, and the first thing they're asking me is, how do you make money from it? I want to make money right now. The thing is, which one do you prefer? The money you make right now and it burns off right away? Or the money that keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming? Which one would you prefer? So, and having your website will give you that opportunity to have the money that keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming. So, the number 2 thing you need is to have some tools. There are some tools that you need to have. One of the tools you need to have is, you need a computer if you don't have one, or you need a laptop, either a desktop computer or a laptop, or your phone. Many of you are using smartphone. You are using BlackBerry, Blueberry, Yellowberry, Greenberry. Some of you are using Samsung S Relay. Even the upgraded version, some of you have it. And some of you are using Apple phone, iPhone. Some of you are using that one. Some of you have tablets. Some of you have iPad. Those are tools in your hands that you can start using to build yourself up. If you have a phone that is a smartphone that can connect to the internet, then you have the tool in your hand. I do hear about data issue, but there is Swift. I was in Nigeria in September, and we were able to get Swift. Go and subscribe to Swift. Go and do Swift subscription so that you can have access to internet. Go and do Swift subscription for internet, please. Go and do Swift subscription. So I'm going to be I just got a message right now. So go and do Swift subscription. Subscribe to Swift so that you don't have to worry about having internet or no internet. And with that Swift, you can even take it around. You know, when I was in Nigeria in September last year, I was doing this same video Periscope broadcast in the car, on the road, on the way to Ikorodu at Last Potek. I was copying. On my way to the US consulate at VI, I was copying because we had that Swift modem with us in the car. So go and subscribe to Swift, my brothers and my sisters, my fellow colleagues. Go and do that kind of a subscription to have internet. It is not up to even 20,000. Go and do that subscription and start using Swift. And you even know what, as a journalist, when you have your website, you can strike a deal with Swift. Those are the when I was a journalist, I was not only writing when I was a journalist in Nigeria, and some of you who were my colleagues can attest to this, that when I was a journalist in Nigeria, I used to get advertisement for my newspaper. So why don't you strike a deal with Swift so that they give you free data in exchange for free advertisement on your website? You see, that's how you start making money. And sometimes you will ask them to pay certain amount for the month to host, to host a banner on your website. And part of it, you can strike a deal such that part of it they will give you, maybe, let's say, for example, you strike a deal with them to pay you $30,000. Oh, sorry, 30,000 naira or 40,000 naira to host them, to host, Swift banner on your blog site, on your website. And part of that money, you can say, you know what, you don't have to give me all the cash. You can give me certain data, or they might even say they will give you certain data in exchange for some of the money. And then, boom, you have free data, and you are getting money, and you are writing. You are the winner. That is one tip for you right there to make money with your blog site or with your website. And I'm going to show you the free website because I'm going to show you my own, what I did. I have paid website. If you go to bukoloriola.com, it's paid website. And it's a WordPress platform. It's not the free WordPress. So it's called self-hosted website. I have Bookispire. I have bukolabreading.com. I even have one for my 9-year-old son. He's had it for over a year now. This is the second year going. It's called Samspiration, and he even has his own Facebook fan page. So that's why I was telling you earlier that 5-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 2-year-olds, 1-year-old, they're all doing it. The earlier you get into it, the better for you. And stop giving excuses. And stop saying, I don't know how to do it. Some of you are already doing some of these things already. You just need to change your mindset and know how to go about it. So the next thing you need is to have, because of course, as a journalist, you all know how to take pictures. So I don't even have to worry about telling you how to take a good picture. If you are a journalist working in the newsroom, you already know how to get good pictures. So when you go to this assignment, take pictures. When you are out and about, take pictures. Something can happen in your neighborhood. You know, you can imagine, see, during that election, I was here watching it live. You know, something happening in your neighborhood, film it, take pictures, all right, post it online. Now, this video I'm doing, I'm going to be putting it on YouTube, and I'm going to be monetizing it too. But, you know, that one, I don't know if, I don't know how Google works with Nigeria, but I won't get into that for the purpose of this broadcast, because this broadcast is specifically for my colleagues and my friends and my brothers and sisters practicing journalism in Nigeria. And then now I'm going to go to the Blogger site and show you briefly what I've done with Blogger and how you can start and do something for yourself. You know, this thing is not hard. It's just about your mindset, changing your mindset and doing something for yourself. You know, that is just all it takes. Doing something for yourself is not something that is a big deal and all that. You just need to know what to do. So let me flip the camera, and this is my Blogger site. So you see, this is what my Blogger site looks like. It's free. I'm not paying for this site, this website. I'm not paying for it. And this is my header here, and I have, you know, I populated it with this picture I made, and I made it with my own I think, did I make this on Canva? No, but anyhow, I made this picture to put here. These are like 1, 2, 3, 4 pictures that I put up here, but I made it into, it's a collage, so it's just one picture in a collage. So, and this is a Google ad, but for those of you in Nigeria, I'm going to be skipping, you know, Google ad for the purpose of this training for my, you know, colleagues. I'm going to be talking about other ways that you can make money for your from your website other than Google ads. So this is, you see, this is a form on my website. So if you click on this, because I've already also created 5 cheat sheets, the 5 cheat sheets for you to start your blog sites. You know, if you're interested in getting the cheat sheet, all you need to do is put your email and your name down, and you will be able to download it free. In exchange for it is your email. So and you know, these are pictures. This is, you know, all the things you are seeing here. And I'm going to quickly open, let me see if I can open another person's blog here. Let me see, I might be able to do that from here quickly. Let's see. I think I can do that from here. So I can open someone else's blog. So I can open, okay, so I have some blogs that I'm following. I have some blogs that I'm following.